Hi YouTubers, and thank you for tuning in to the Dice of That Toy Review. Today we're going to be taking a look at another vehicle I've actually successfully made today. And one of them is actually fairly particularly new, and it's this guy here. Ho ho ho! He looks so different to all the other vehicles I've actually made so far. Although, there's one vehicle which I think is pretty much very similar to, and it's this guy here. And he's basically like a smaller cousin of this guy here, the Grandland. And this car here is called a Crossland. And of course it's a Skreemerz type car, because obviously it's basically a rebadged version of Vauxhall, Opel, Holden, we were going to call it that way. There you go, there's the name, Crossland, as you can see there. Can you see the word Crossland on the bottom of the vehicle here? It says Crossland. And there's also a license plate of HW72 TSM. Of course, yes, it's a very fancy looking car, right? And the car's name is ANGUS Crosby. And of course, yes, if I show you underneath, yes, this car has got components which are made in the UK and China at the same time, which I'm not very surprised of. Like all flip-out toy cars which are made like this. There you go, there's the licensing info, and there's the name on the top, ANGUS Crosby. And that's the make of this car, the Skreemerz Crossland, and is basically based on the real vehicle that Vauxhall and Opel are doing at the moment, like some kind of, well, obviously, I do know there are hybrid SUVs going about at the moment though. I do know that diesel cars will be banned from another time in 2035, I guess. Well, I can tell you what, the future is very unpredictable. Whether we're going to be banning or keeping diesel cars is a very big debate, and we've been having so much at the moment though. And yes, it looks fairly nice. I love the glossy tinted windows, just like what we had on the Grandland car, and looks just amazing. Just beautiful to see that one, hey? An amazing vehicle in so many ways, and yes, that looks fairly nice indeed. Not gonna lie though, hey? Every time when I make those toy cars, they look fairly nice. And if I give you a size comparison with Spencer, the Grandland vehicle, he's actually a tad narrower. In fact, obviously if I compare, obviously if I look at going from the top here, I don't know about you, but I'm just going to show you from the top here just for a bit of accuracy going on here, I think. One thing I've actually realised is that Spencer seems to be a little bit bigger and a little bit wider than Angus, in a sense that, you know, if you look at the design differences with the Grandland, Spencer the Grandland, of course, is much wider. It is also a little bit bigger and a little longer than what Angus is. And of course, yes, I know the backs look kind of sort of pretty similar, but in a very different way, of course. Obviously, it looks pretty nice when you have, you know, a vehicle like this, which then gets heavily inspired by this. I mean, to me it's not that successful though with the rims though, because, you know, it's not really the sort of thing that really sets me as something really nice. But the other thing I'm also not really keen of is this back detailing here. It would have been better off if I had window detailing, extra window detailing at the back, to make it sort of, you know, look like the car's got like windows at the back. But sadly, this piece of detailing has failed to be incorporated. But nevertheless, it is such a nice looking vehicle. And the other difference is that with the cab roof and slash window detailings here, I've actually realised that Angus Crosby has got white on top, whereas Spencer, the Grandland, has got black on top, which is actually quite amazing for a difference in various vehicles that are making so much. And I could tell you guys, so even on a hot summer's day that we're having currently at the moment now, until maybe the end of this week obviously, yes, I could tell you guys, I've been enjoying myself, spending my time just to make vehicles of such. I can tell you what, look at that face. And that's the best thing about these vehicles these days. They've got like a Cowart's B-mouth sort of face on the front. And that actually reminds me of Valley McRamirez. And another car I might also put up though onto my hands here is this car here. This is the Corvette car is called that blue one, of course. I totally forgot his name. Is it Sonny? I think it's Sonny. Why am I thinking of Sally from Cars? You know, from Disney Pixar Cars. I don't know why I'm actually thinking about, you know, that blue Porsche. I'm actually thinking of at the moment now. I bet these three, they're very close to what Angus Crosby's design is like. And now, if I show you what Angus looks like, there's his side headlights. It's got a bit of a futuristic sort of design on the headlights, of course, and also the badge as well, the Skreemerz Ghost Fiery thing, whatever it's called. And there you go, there's also got some backlights here on the top, but also ones on the bottom here as well. It's pretty nice for such a detailed vehicle, of course. I love the way that this car's been detailed. I just think that the door and the handles also look quite nicely detailed overall. Look how beautiful this is. And yes, I love the front. It gives it such phenomenal characteristics. Sorry, actually, don't know if characterism is a real word. But nevertheless, it's just an impressive vehicle. Very impressive. I hate to explain how complex these cars are. But I could tell guys this was actually a vehicle, if you remember back then in a previous video, this was actually before it was coloured in. It actually took a long time to finish because obviously what I was actually having trouble was to get some sticker supplies, and actually this is a car that I've actually shown you in a previous video before it was fully coloured in. Although the top part seems to be, you know, just bland and white with the windows being tinted and the eyes brownish in colour, it's still quite a nice vehicle. You know, obviously this car has actually been seen in previous videos on how I made vehicles like this. I think I've made a video like this before where I've made vehicles like this. And then it was very interesting. I actually demonstrated, well, not really demonstrated actually, well I actually did showcase on how my car's been made by just making a cardboard sort of boxy sort of unit, covered it with all of stickers and paper, and added like an origami roof on the top to give it like a car-like appearance and all of that whatnot and blah blah, and also had to trim and change the shape at the front to give it a bit of realism and a bit of character as well, and also a bit of design influence as well going on here, just to be very accurate to what the real cars are like though. And of course yes, I added the face just like what Disney Pixar cars are like, but hey, let's just hope Disney doesn't sue this for what I'm doing, hey, because you know, I'm very free to do so, I suppose, hey. But yes, it is actually quite a nice vehicle, and of course yes, it's very nice and very worthy to note that of course I added some plastic axles onto the bottom with some wooden skewers just to make, if you know, if the car was you know driving along with some cardboard like wheels, and hey, it feels like generations over generations of time you'll be able to see toy cars like that on the menu. It's just amazing, and it's so incredible that so far this year's summer we have seen a mega bumper season of vehicles so far. I mean, the first one I did was this beautiful looking truck that I actually made. It was all made from different types of cardboard, already made from different products. But yes, it was one of the first cardboard vehicles I've made for 2022. This beautiful truck was, I wonder what's his name? Roland. Floyd. I would have preferred him calling him Rowan, but there you go, this is Roland. It's a very nice looking truck, of course. And I've also got quite a lot of vehicles, eh? The next one I also did was this character here, whose name is Raggly Bone, the recycling scrapman van. Any old iron! That's what I like to go ahead and do that quote, eh? How cool is that? And then I also did, what's the next vehicle I did? I also did this character here. Now I finally got the exhaust pipe back into place, but sadly the stickers are actually coming off in place. This truck here is called Wrigley Stokes, who is of course the Western Star 4900 sort of dump truck, which tips back and look at that, just tips open back and back to front, of course. Well, it's not really back to front, but it's actually tipping down and upwards, of course. Love that moving feature. That's the very cool thing with toys. You have to have that moving feature. Hello, it can talk. How cool is that one, hey? Next thing is the other vehicle I actually created. I don't think there weren't that much vehicles in April and May because I was doing chickens and all that stuff and getting myself prepared for Malaysia and doing Easter stuff. This truck here, this was one I've made back in June of 2022 when I actually had like a very big Malaysian haul, and I brought in this beautiful cardboard box from Malaysia and also the other cardboard pieces just to assemble this truck. And that's just amazing, I suppose. I suppose that when you actually add a lot more cardboard into it, and you buy and try and botch up more cardboard pieces and make a vehicle like this, it becomes quite a phenomenal looking toy. And mind you, this is something that I would love to have. You know, something really nice. In fact, this is something really nice that I can put up into my, you know, what I mean, into my shelf of interesting items. If only if I had one, but hey, this is actually quite nice, that truck. And then, came after the trucks, I then started to make my own cars, which I actually built them starting from scratch from cardboard boxes during my flight. And actually, after my flight to Malaysia, I actually made 2 of those cars. And then I also made this vehicle here, which is some weird skid steer. I've actually got the ploughing bucket thing on back to front, which is kind of weird. Which is very weird. This is the other vehicle that I've made for 2022, but it's quite a nice demonstration on how I've made construction vehicles and blah blah. Noticing it looks like some kind of Disney Pixar cars forklift pity, what we're going to call it, And then I also made 2 cars here. Of course, I've made this car here, which is like an electric car here. It's corny, the Skreemerz Corsa. I think one problem I had with this car here so far was that the wheels, they weren't. I think the front wheel was free rolling, but this back wheel, it's what I call a very lazy wheel here. It didn't seem to it didn't actually seem to look like it was rolling that well. So I might have to try and probably spray it with oil to give it a bit of, you know, to give it a bit of free rolling movement, and surely that would actually work. But the best cars I've made so far for August was this car here, the Grandland. And if I revert back to the Crossland, those cars look fairly nice indeed. I bet you it also works well with the driverless car wash. I'm not sure if I can check via heights as well. Oh, it's a bit taller as well. But actually I might try and check by height as well. I actually didn't realise this, but the Crossland seems to be a little bit more taller than the Grandland. I actually didn't realise this. If I take a look at the back there, as a bit of a size comparison, this is literally based on the time when Opel and Vauxhall were owned by Peugeot and Citroën after moving from General Motors, which is like the American company, very well known for their cars and stuff, like Chevrolets and Buicks and Cadillacs and GMCs. There's so many car brands in America that I'd really want to name, but I just don't have that much time. And of course, yes, I've actually realised Angus the Crossland is actually a little bit taller than Spencer the Grandland. I've never noticed that until, well, I didn't actually realise this. It's actually a little bit taller than what Spencer's is. I thought Spencer was a little taller, but then I actually didn't realise the height of this car is actually quite a bit taller. I didn't realise how a little taller that this vehicle is. I've never noticed that. That is pretty impressive. I would have never thought that, hey. That is just so amazing. Mind you, this guy here, I might be putting up something into my mental box, or into the shelf of interesting items. As I've said before, if only if I had one. But hey, I can tell you what, making vehicles has become my passion so far, and yes, Angus Crosby has been quite amazing, although the rims, they're not as great compared to what I did in previous car videos. I was attempting to draw like tyres and such because I couldn't find like any black felt tip marker pens, and I had to use like dud looking black watercolour pencil crayons just to make the wheels a bit, you know, very how would you say it, stylish and sleekish looking as well. Mind you, I would have compared it well, so yeah, I would have compared it so well with the Disney Pixar cars, diecast vehicles, and see if anyone would pretty much like those toys. And mind you, it is so nice to see a bit of variation. And although if I give it a bit of a comparison with Sonny the Corvette, hopefully I've got the names right. Although Sonny is pretty much blue in colour, this guy here is also blue, but he's in a much more darker shade of blue compared to this guy here. And I actually realised if I look at Sonny, he looks like he's actually been covered in red and pink at the same time. Maybe he must have been sitting and dozing around with Valley a lot. Maybe he's best friends with Valley. I don't know why, but it seems like that. Yeah, overall it's actually quite a very weird sort of transition. That this car used to be all freshly done with blue, but now it's kind of like blue mashed up with pink and red at the same time. I don't know why these colours are sort of mashed up together. That is such a very weird transition. I might have to repaint that into an actual blue sports car or a super tuning car. Looks kind of weird, doesn't it? But hey, mind you, I don't really mind the detailings on the back and also the sides and the front. It's still quite a nice looking car, and hey, I feel like I can get top credit for that. Even though the rims in the car, well, of course yes, they look quite cool, of course, at the same time. It's not that boring actually, I suppose. I mean, the rest of this car, it's kind of weird. I don't know why the rest of all that blue paint must have been submerged. Maybe it must have been hiding underneath right somewhere in my house. I don't know why all that blue paint must have been dried up and diminished so fast. I might have to repaint this vehicle before selling it in stores to make him actually really blue, or very blue, just to make this car exactly what it's meant to be. But nevertheless, it is just a stunning looking car, and mind you, even though this car has endured such a paint loss, like I did with that, you know that dump truck, Frederick the dump truck? And if I grab Frederick the dump truck, you know, obviously I can talk so many times about this character here. He actually suffered a lot of paint losses so far. His colour loss so far. But yes, I finally regained his colour over the last weeks or so. Of yellow, of course, I actually added a lot of yellow. It used to be all buffy and a bit khaki looking, with like a lightish tannish sort of khaki colour. But nevertheless, he's just so much better in his absolutely golden sort of yellow colorization. I kind of like that brightish, new yellowish colour. It's fairly nice and shiny. It also works with the summer sun that we have got at the moment though. But yes, of course, yes, I've been making loads and loads of vehicles, so yes, hopefully, after making this video, I should be quite busy doing vehicles like that. And, you know, there's also some fairly interesting about these two vehicles. If I grab Angus and Crosby, or should I say Angus and Spencer, Angus, Crosby and Spencer, I can't really remember the surname, Silverslog, Spencer Silverslog, that's what it's called though, eh? Should remember the names, just before making this video, and hey, there you go, they look fairly nice. They look like a very decent looking pair, Spencer Silverslog and Angus Crosby. In fact, those cars, they look fairly awesome. And mind you, they've got the same sort of wheel detailing, and also at the back. If I actually go ahead and put a comparison right behind, I've actually realised that, yeah, Crosby's a tad narrower than what I've actually done. He's actually a tad narrower than Spencer. So he's a very slimmed down version. In fact, the Crossland is kind of a bit of a slim sort of model of car. And my body's starting to itch, so I might as well add some lotion. In fact, I was also scratching my legs, so that's not a very good idea. So I might as well just add some cream onto my legs. Oh my crockies, that's quite cringe, isn't it? Having itchy legs and all that stuff like that whenever I'm making videos like that and blah blah. Noticing I'm starting to make longer videos these days because obviously, well, who knows about you guys, but I got a funny feeling that, hey, this is actually looking fairly awesome, making longer videos, isn't it? Well, of course, yes, the sad part of long videos is, at the same time, there's a very big problem on YouTube about the attention span data, which has been chronically low, basically down to like 2 minutes. And I've got a constant problem with people who have been, spamming on my channels into how long they actually watch videos for, which is kind of a bit, bit disappointing and sad to know. But hey, let's take a look at Angus and Spencer again. I've actually realised the backs are kind of a bit similar again, but one thing I didn't pinpoint and notice is the back lights, not at the top, but also actually on the bottom. There's the bottom backlights, which are highlighted in red in colour. I've actually realised that Spencer has actually got bigger red rectangles at the bottom, whereas if I compare it with Angus, he's only got like small diblets of red implemented onto the vehicle. So it's basically very nice to know that although it's a downsized sort of vehicle, He's also a little bit more colourful, yet dark at the same time, than Spencer is. But nevertheless, I think it's a very nice looking vehicle. In fact, he does represent Scotland so well, because obviously the blue-white colour combinations, I love this. Imagine if you have like a Scottish flag on the top. That'd be fairly awesome, wouldn't it? Yeah, that would actually be fair. I can't do a Scottish accent though. Yes, I do! Sorry, yes I do. I can do anything. I don't know if I can do a very proper Scottish accent though. Man, I think I can do anything within you. I don't know if I'm actually kind of a bit... Sorry, I don't know. I can't really do a very good Scottish accent though. I must be very proud of what I'm doing so far though. So I'm just practicing along the way. If this character had a voice, he would obviously have a very thick Scottish accent like this. No need to worry, man. I proved to everything. No one can stop me from driving. It's actually quite a very good impression of me doing a bit of a Scottish accent, but actually there's a bit of detailing right on the sides here on Angus. There's actually a bit of triangular backlight, tail light designs over there. There's actually a bit of nice looking red on the sides of it. Beautiful, isn't it? And also on the other side there as well. I should have pinpointed that side, guys. And if I take a look at this one here, this one's a little bit bigger and a little bit more distinguished. So even though these two vehicles look a bit different, this one here is a bit more downsized and with some slimmer backlight detailings, whereas this one here has got a little bit bigger in the way it's being detailed. There you go, it looks pretty nice, doesn't it? Yes, it looks fairly nice, but there's actually one thing which is completely missing. Dun dun dun! There's no fuel cap designer. I can't see a fuel cap on the sides of the car here. I think it's mainly at this side here, because obviously it's all to do with the United Kingdom and all that stuff, because of our left hand versus right hand drive sort of directional sort of, how would you say it, sort of pose. I think that's what we'd normally keep our static pose, but hey, so what guys, like, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty much running out of energy talking in this video. I've got a funny feeling I've been making this video so nicely, in a sense that, hey, I think that's a very good time for me to start making this video, because obviously I've been blabbering about toy vehicles, haven't I? Well, anyways, actually, there is something I might show you in another video time, hopefully from tomorrow, I think. Do you remember I've actually been taking a look at some Pokemon stuff? And as we're coming close to the end of the video, I'm actually going to be showing you those items there. Now, this was actually pretty much an unwanted sort of item via someone else, by a lovely client called Beth. I don't know if Beth is a client though, but hey, I remember seeing those in McDonald's. I didn't realise these items turn up, and I was actually so amazed. And when I saw a Pokemon again from McDonald's, mind you, it's actually quite amazing. In fact, there's so many different things I might talk about. It's got some very interesting components, but at the same time the components are quite cruddy. What they're really inside is that they're basically Pokemon trading card game cards, and hopefully by tomorrow in a separate video I'll try and cover those items by tomorrow though. Tomorrow morning I might talk about those. So hopefully, as the hot sun is continuing on, I don't have to make videos again though on hot sunny day conditions though, again in like the evening though, because it would probably constrain a lot more time to do videos like this. But nevertheless, I'm just so glad that, hey, mind you, I could pretty much, you know, earn billions and billions of pounds making videos like that, but hey, it's not always the case, isn't it? Of course, yes, it's Pokemon trading card games inside, Pokemon trading card game cards inside. I'll have a look at those in another video's time. Well, anyways, I think that's probably about it in this video, of course. So, if you really enjoyed in this video, please give this video a like. Sorry the video's gone a bit too long, of course. Subscribe for more flip-out videos in the future. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and bye for now. And of course, yes, I'll be making more videos along the way, so goodbye again.